Alright, this is a short video on the gear you need, minimum gear you need if you're starting out windsurfing and you want to know what you need to buy to get yourself on the water with your own gear. So presumably you've taken a class or several and you're comfortable on the water and you're ready to get your own gear so you can sail when and where you want. So let's take a quick look at the minimum you're going to need. Okay, item number one, a board. So assuming you've done a class, you're comfortable on the water, you need a floaty board. This board's 155 liters, nice and wide. A good transition board from beginner board to a board you can sail by yourself. However, it does not have a centerboard. So if you're uncomfortable going upwind without the centerboard down, you may want to consider a beginner board that has a centerboard still. And there are plenty of those out there, similar in volume to this or bigger, but with the centerboard feature. Like these race boards, they all have centerboards in there for racing upwind. So once you've gotten a board, the next thing you need is a sail. And in order to connect the sail to the board, you need a mast base, like this here. Here's what one looks like off the board. There are multiple different styles. This one attaches to the board. There's a slot into which that nut goes, and then the base tightens down onto that. And I like these little toe kicks here, these little foot pads. I keep stepping on the mast base and squashing my toes, and you can see how that fits right over the mast base and gives you a little bit of protection. So you have your board, you have your base, then you need a mast, a sail, and a boom. Now in this case, this sail is 6 square meters. So your first question is, okay, what kind of mast do I need for that, and what kind of boom do I need? And they're all sized differently. So if you look here, it gives us our luff, which is the length of the sleeve into which the mast goes, 456. Our boom width or length needs to be 189 and it fits on a 430 centimeter mast. So in this case, this mast is 430. Now you're going to ask, what's the difference between 430 and the luff of 456? In order to bridge that gap, you need an item called a mast extension. So the mast extension fits inside the mast and has a collar on there, and you can adjust the collar up and down to compensate for the difference between the luff length and the mast. And this little collar here slides up and down. So for example, if it's a 430 mast and the luff is 450, let's say, you would set this at 20 centimeters, put it inside the bottom of the mast. The mast goes to this point here, and then you would wrap this rope around the pulleys and downhaul it, and you're good to go. So that's the mast and mast extension. The boom, again, all the booms are sized differently. If you remember, our sail needed a 189 centimeter boom, and this boom is adjustable from 160 to 210. So this boom would be perfect for that sail. This one also has an uphaul attached, which I'm sure you've seen when you were taking your class. And the idea is when the sail falls in the water, you can stand on the board and pull the sail up out of the water while you're standing on the board. So that really is the minimum required. There's a little tool here, a little downhaul tool, that's invaluable. Unless you have the grip of Thor, your hands are going to hurt when you pull the downhaul to tighten the sail. This is one of many different styles. The downhaul rope goes through there and clamps into the cleat, and then you use one or both hands to pull it tight. Like I said, many different styles of those available. Once you get a little better, you may consider getting a harness. Maybe you're already familiar with the harness. The harness allows you to sail longer, and you could say faster, and use your body weight instead of your grip strength on the boom. This board happens to have foot straps installed. Certainly not needed when you first start out. If you happen to get a board with foot straps, you could always take those off or move them to the inside positions. Like for example, this strap could go in this slot here, and the rear strap could be set more inboard into these slots here. And got to get good with the foot straps because you'll be able to sail faster and longer. I forgot to mention, whichever board you purchase, you will need a fin. There are different styles of fins. You want to make sure the fin you get fits the board. And fin size is related to sail size. There's lots of information online about that. So board width and sail size decide what kind of fin you need. If you can get the original fin that came with the board, that's always a good compromise. The manufacturer decided what size that needed to be when they made the board. This one happens to be a power box fin, which has a single fitting on the back and attaches to the board with that particular screw right there from underneath. Foot straps, again, those can be removed when you're beginning. You really don't need them. And as you get better, you will need them and you'll want them. I happen to have some soft balls here maintaining the shape of the fin, of the foot strap, because they tend to get a little bit flattened from stepping on them. So off the water, I like to keep a ball under there. So there you go. That's the minimum you need once you're done with classes. It's kind of a lot of stuff, so my recommendation would be take a class and join a club, or maybe rent for a while. And do not purchase a beginner board as your first board, because what's the point? Very beginner board, the one you learned on, for example, is likely to be very large, quite heavy and slow, and you tend to outgrow them quickly. So whatever board you learned on, I would attempt to buy something that's a little smaller in volume at least, and had some foot straps, and was something you could progress on and not be stuck forever paddling around or windsurfing around very slowly like you did in class. Although a bigger board means more control, but I would argue less fun. There you go. Happy windsurfing.